Consumerism is the idea that increasing the consumption of goods and services purchased in the market is always a desirable goal, and that a person's well-being and happiness depends fundamentally on obtaining consumer goods. Consumerism is related to the predominantly Keynesian idea that consumer spending is the key driver of the economy and that encouraging consumers to spend is a major policy goal. From this point of view, consumerism is a positive phenomenon that fuels economic growth. Others view the drive to obtain more material possessions as problematic, causing individual anxiety and eroding the social fabric. In this video, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to try and understand where all of this comes from. Why has there been a negative rise of consumerism in modern culture? Why are we in the era of trying to fit in, showing off, and yet broke? Why buy the biggest burger or cookie just for the sake of? Long before Amazon and TikTok hauls, even before shopping malls and glossy magazines, the seeds of consumerism were planted in the 17th and 18th centuries. International trade was booming, cities were growing, people weren't just buying what they needed, they were beginning to buy what they wanted. In France, the first fashion magazines emerged in the 1670s. By the 1770s, almanacs and pocketbooks were filled with product ads. The marketplace was evolving not just in supply but in desire. By the 1800s, the shift was already tremendous because, in the obvious, man is subject to evolution in every aspect. And in this time, in 1891, a man called Edward Louis Bernays was born, a pioneer and a forefather in this consumerism space and public relations. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, and he heavily borrowed from Freud's theory that humans are not primarily rational, but driven by unconscious desires and emotions, fear, love, status, coitus, and etc. Bernays believed that if you wanted to influence public behavior, you had to appeal to their subconscious, not their logic. He coined this phrase to describe the process of shaping public opinion through calculated media campaigns. This was not just about informing people, it was about guiding them without the awareness, like a puppeteer with strings they can't see.
Edward L. Bernays, you're the father of public relations. What led you more than 60 years ago to see the need for public relations?
I was a member of the United States Committee on Public Information in World War I, and I worked with the committee to make this the war to end all wars, which was Wilson's idea, and the war to make the world safe for democracy, and to popularize throughout the world the 14 points. And I found that ideas were weapons and were even more effective than bullets.
This now anticipates what we now call behavioral economics, nudge theory, and even algorithmic targeting on social media. After World War I, Bernays realized that propaganda had become a dirty word, so he rebranded it as public relations.
When I came back to the United States, I decided that if you could use propaganda for war, you could certainly use it for peace. And propaganda got to be a bad word because of the Germans using it. So what I did was to try to find some other words. So we found the word Council on Public Relations.
Another interesting fact is that the bad people from Germany at the time, led by the infamous leader at that time, adopted this principle for their malicious purposes by literally brainwashing individuals in the country in that era. If you want to read more about that, I have placed an article that goes deeper about this whole science. And in the same regard, why don't you subscribe for more thought-provoking content? I'm really trying to make YouTube a full-time thing. After World War II, consumption exploded.
Every Friday night, Julia's job is to compare the grocery prices of our neighborhood stores for Saturday morning shopping.
Governments encouraged spendings, corporations flooded the market with new products.
Ice-cold Coca-Cola will be a mighty welcome sight when you return.
Yes, my lord, it's a party tonight. We'll have Tootsie Roll Pop.
The prettiest, yes, the prettiest heads in town are turning to Shasta for a hot cream shampoo.
Ads told families owning a home, a car, a fridge, that was the American dream. Shopping wasn't just economic, it was patriotic, it was personal. At the time, we weren't just buying goods, we were buying happiness, but not everyone bought in, of course. Philosopher Herbert Marcuse called it voluntary servitude. He argued that we work harder to buy more, to feel a fleeting sense of satisfaction, only to return to work again. The cycle benefits someone, but is it us? Others, of course, when hearing this, pushed back in different ways, as this is the norm with man when it comes with controversy. And so this, of course, shows that man embraces consumption even while aware of its contradictions, because in a world that feels uncertain, owning things feels like control. Am I not wrong, ladies and gentlemen? By the 1980s, consumerism was louder than ever. Malls weren't just places to shop, they were social hubs. Women were joining the workforce in record numbers, doubling household incomes and spending power. TV shows dictated fashion trends. People weren't just keeping up with the Joneses, they were trying to outshine them. It was all about more, and more. Then came the revolution, technology. Personal computers entered homes. In the 90s, the internet became a norm used by many households. Suddenly, you didn't have to leave your house to shop. The world came to your screen. E-commerce exploded. Sites like eBay and Amazon gave everyday people the power to sell and buy globally. With one click, a product in Tokyo could be in New York within days. And with this inconvenience came a deeper shift. Consumerism was no longer tied to place. It became tied to time. Instant access, instant gratification. All of these then leading up to the modern 21st century, the world we live in today. In a matter of just 40 years or so, the tech shift has seen exponential growth like never before. It is right we look at the familiars, and one perfect example being social media applications. An interesting article with the title "The Platformization of Consumer Culture" brings more nuance in the subject matter at hand. It states that in today's world, almost everything we do as consumers, what we buy, how we shop, even how we express ourselves, is shaped by one thing: digital platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Amazon, YouTube, you name it. These aren't just apps anymore. They've become marketplaces, social spaces, and ad billboards, all wrapped into one. This takeover of our daily lives by digital platforms has a name: platformization. And you may be asking, what does that even mean? Well, platformization is when platforms become the main stage where our culture plays out. They're where we shop, talk, share opinions, discover trends, and even protest. Think about it. You don't Google a brand anymore, you TikTok it. You don't call customer service, you tweet a complaint. You don't just buy shoes, you show them off in a story or a video haul. And in doing so, you're not just being a customer, you're being watched, analyzed, and predicted. See, platforms like Instagram or TikTok give us free tools to create, post, and connect. But nothing is really free. Everything you do, every click, scroll, like, and share is turned into data. Data that tells platforms who you are, what you want, and how to sell to you. This is what Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism.
Surveillance capitalism has claimed something from outside the market and brought it into the market to sell and buy. But in this case, the territory that it has claimed is private human experience, to be sold and purchased as behavioral data.
A system that doesn't just respond to a behavior, it shapes it. It nudges you towards trends, products, opinions, all while quietly profiting from attention. But this is not just about shopping, it's about culture. These platforms influence what we think is cool, what success looks like, even how we present ourselves. Ever noticed how everyone's aesthetic starts to look the same? Same poses, same edits, same brands? Am I right or am I right? That is no accident. It's standardization. Platforms subtly guiding our behavior into predictable patterns they can sell to advertisers. And yet these trends don't last. What's viral today is cringe tomorrow. I mean, why do you think people are always calling certain influencers and celebrities washed after being the face of the industry for a certain period of time? So, welcome to the world of ephemerality, where everything's fast, fleeting, and always chasing the next thing. But it goes deeper, ladies and gentlemen. The way we form communities online around influencers, hobbies, even brands is changing. They are what researchers call hybrid publics. I know that's a very interesting way to put it, right? These are people connected not by direct interaction, but by shared attention to the same influencer or brand. A perfect example being YouTube and streaming. Need I say more, guys? Mr. Beast, Kaisanat, come on, man. Like, there's plenty of names that you can give or like examples, you get me? And platforms love this because it means more engagement, more data, more power. And even in this ultra digital world, physical things still matter. Showing off those shoes you bought, filming unboxes, joining a TikTok challenge with your new outfit, these are real products being used to gain digital attention. So while platforms may seem intangible, they still rely on the very material world of stuff. Stuff we're encouraged to buy, use, post, and move on from. And you, the viewer, you may be seated there and asking yourself, why is this guy preaching to me all this, man? I don't care. I just want to live my life. It means we're not just users. We're consumers, creators, and data sources all at once. Platforms shape what we desire and then sell that desire right back to us. We may feel free, but the game is designed to keep us scrolling, buying, posting, and repeating. And the question is, are we okay with that? Ooh, that was tense, right? If you've watched this far into the video, I really appreciate you. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Road to 10K. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.